Mhm. Make sure I'm ready. Here we go. Hey, everybody, and happy day number 4. So, as always, as you guys come on live, please do pop into the chat, say hi, and where you are tuning in from. We obviously love hearing all of that. We have a lot to obviously get covered today. We also have another special guest joining us at around the halfway point. Teresa Sanderson. She's a nursing professional, but she also does coaching, consulting, speaking. She's one of our standout mastermind members. She 6x'd her revenue in 12 months. She 3x'd her revenue in 90 days. She's a rock star. And she's going to share some of the things that really worked for her and obviously what that can do to impact all of you. Um, so first and foremost, we appreciate everyone doing all the accountability assignments. Just remember what Nancy mentioned. There will be a certificate of completion for those that do each and every accountability assignment, obviously, and show up, and then obviously email Nancy to the support email over the weekend that you did that with all of your assignments. And don't forget, we do have a bonus Q&A session. There will be a Q&A form sent out tomorrow in a separate email, but also posted in the Facebook group. So if anybody does want to pre-submit some questions for Saturday at 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you'll be able to do that. And so we've gone over a lot of the importance of building your personal brand, and it's paramount when you're really looking to grow and scale a business. And for Nancy and myself, I would say the majority of the struggles that people have when they're really looking to grow and scale their business is lack of accountability, meaning they're being left to their own devices. Number two, lack of clarity. Nancy has a great saying, you can't see the label from inside the jar. So when a lot of people are focusing too much in their business and not on their business, you don't move the needle forward. But also support, being able to bounce questions off of people, being able to work through any stumbling blocks or kinks in the hose. Nancy and I were on an island by ourselves for a really long time in the very beginning. And it wasn't until we made that first step to saying, you know what, we need to shorten the learning curve. We really need to make that next move and take that next step, invest in ourselves, invest with experts, and really get ourselves to where we want to be. And a lot of what we've been sharing with you all this week is things that we've learned from others, but also things that we've learned ourselves to shorten that learning curve. But it doesn't stop here. And we're going to get into some of that later on in today's session as well. Every single person can achieve anything that they want, and you've seen everything. Tomorrow's not promised, and we really want people to get as much out of this, but also their business as possible. A couple housekeeping, just remember, you're still going to be getting the email reminders. Nancy's actually going to drop in the chat really quickly the business assessment link. So if you do want to click on that, you can fill out this form. A bunch of you did. This is going to help you kind of just look at some of the bottlenecks that you have. So if you click on that link, it'll open up a separate page. You don't have to fill it out now. Just fill it out after we're done. We'll also email it out. And again, you'll be getting a email reminder tomorrow morning about the replay, an hour reminder before, 15-minute reminder, all of those things. There will be another accountability assignment today. And as always, there will be a pinned post at the top of the Facebook group. It'll say day 4 Nancy's homework thread with the assignment. And all you have to do is comment below what it is prior to 12:30 Eastern Standard Time to qualify for one of the 2 homework winners. There'll be 2 more winners announced at the end of today. All prizes will be emailed out at the closure of the workshop, which is Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is also when the replays do come out. So, again, we have a lot to cover today, so we are going to dive right in. So if you guys are ready to rock and roll, and learn the next step in building out your personal brand online, just drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to grab this really quickly. As we always do, I am going to get my screen up and going for you guys. Right. I'm going to hide video panel. I am going to... All right, if you guys can see our screen loud and clear, please do drop a Y or a yes in the chat. If we're coming through, awesome. Just want to make sure before we dive into today's content. So just remember, we went over all the different things that construct and go into building out your personal brand. And today we're going to create a clear content strategy to increase your visibility and set yourself apart. Some of you may not have seen this post that I posted today on LinkedIn, but I always love sharing real results. And I showed this to Nancy, and she was kind of blown away and taken back by it. Between April of 2023 and April 2024, I have accrued over 1 million post impressions on LinkedIn with my content. And what that means is LinkedIn has shared the visibility of my content to over 1 million people in the last year, which breaks down to 83,000 people per month, 21,000 people per week. And since I only post 6 days per week, 3,500 people per day are seeing my content. And that is something that we teach. We teach you how to create that content strategy, because the majority of you, if your ideal client avatar are business professionals, you're going to want to do that on LinkedIn. And that's why LinkedIn is so beneficial. Not saying that Facebook and Instagram are not, but you can see so much of what's going on when you leverage LinkedIn the right way. So again, we're going to create that clear strategy today. Obviously, you have the workbook, participate, and really make sure that you take part in everything. So day number 4 is creating a clear content strategy to increase your visibility and set yourself apart. You don't want anything falling through the cracks. You really want to position yourself as that expert. So, Nancy.
Yes. So I just want to kind of, before we dive into content strategy, I want to share with you guys, the importance of getting your business organized. Okay. Making sure that you have a clear plan of action each and every day and that we're intentional for all the things that we do. So there's pretty much, like, if we were to really look at your the big picture of your business, and I always tell Scott, business in a way is simple, right? Because all businesses kind of run the same and similar. But there are 4 core workflows that pretty much every single business, and especially online businesses, have. And the first one is your reoccurring things that you do, right? Your daily, your weekly, your monthly, your, yearly routines, those things that recur each week. So that's a workflow in and of itself. The second workflow is your content calendar. Okay. Literally, there's a whole workflow just because content creation and planning and everything is so important. That's its own workflow. And then, of course, you've got projects and then you've got events. Okay. So those 4, again, it's reoccurring, it's your content calendar, your content strategy, your projects, and your events. Okay. So I just want to stress the importance of how big and important it is to really have a nice, solid workflow, which is pretty much just a playbook, a game plan, right? Whenever it comes to creating your content, so that you can create a workflow, you can create a routine to stay consistent and to get ahead and to plan things out and make sure that we have a handle on the content that we're putting out there for our audience. So this all starts with deciding what it is that you want to talk about. Okay. I call it content buckets, content topics, areas of expertise. Okay. And here's the thing. It all starts here, no matter what kind of content you post, anything down the line, it all starts here because you have to decide what 3 to 5 things are you typically going to talk about as it relates to your business, where you can show up, you can provide value, you can obviously showcase what it is that you do. But choosing these 3 to 5 content buckets or these 3 to 5 content topics are really the center of everything else as you break out your content further. So we're going to dig a little bit deeper into this in today's training. So again, I say content buckets. Again, people call it content topics, whatever you would like to call it, right?
Genius.
It's just kind of a way to framework this a little bit. But it should help tell your ideal client what they need to know about you, your business, and your offering. Now, let me be clear, okay? There are a lot of people who are not doing this the right way, okay? In fact, I use the example of a person, that I was in a mastermind with, and I really wanted to promote what it is that she did, but she made it very confusing on all of her social media by sharing just stuff that was not related. Like, for example, she really specialized in PR. And when I went to her Instagram or her Facebook, it was all pictures of like her in a bikini and like had nothing to do with what it is that she did. Now, it's okay to post personal pictures every once in a while, but looking at her profile, even for a couple seconds, I was scratching my head. I'm like, I'm so not sure, and it's not clear, and I really don't want to recommend this person. It's not clear how she works with people. So we want to make sure, especially the content that we're putting out there to attract our ideal clients, makes sense. Okay. So if you're a plumber, you shouldn't be talking about, travel planning and all this other crazy stuff, that has nothing to do with your business, right? It should be related to the problems that your clients have, or, the things that they want to see or learn as it pertains to you and your industry and business. So I want all of you, okay, and even if you guys have like a little piece of paper
Or
and a
type
pen,
it in the chat.
you can even, type in the chat. What is it that you want to be known for? Okay. If we were to recommend someone to you and say, oh my gosh, if you need LinkedIn help, you need to go to Scott, right?
So type it in the chat. What is the one thing that you want to be known for? Collectively, Nancy and I want to be known for the husband and wife team that helps people grow and scale businesses that feel good, where they have high revenue, low overhead, high profit, right? That's, again, something that we teach. Solution provider, that's awesome. So understanding, right, what you want to be known for will help you with your content strategy, because your content should be related to what you want to be known for.
Yep. And think about the exercise you did on day one, all about niching and kind of choosing your industry and the market that you're in. If you're to write a book on a certain topic, right, where people would go, hey, you want to learn about LinkedIn? Go check out Scott's
Or a
book.
podcast.
Hey, you want to learn about how to create routines in your business? Go check this out, So think about what it is that you really want to be known for, that you want people to be able to refer you. You want, clients to be able to tell what the heck it is that you do. What is it also, right, that your audience is searching for when they need what you provide, right? For my content repurposing agency, right, a lot of my audience are searching content creation and content repurposing. So think about what your audience is searching right on the other side of the screen when they need what it is that you provide. So when it comes to this, and I do tell people, right, sometimes these topics can change, but we don't want to be mentally scattered. We don't want to be all over the place. We don't want to be flying by the seat of our pants. Okay. The content that you post should be in alignment with what your audience wants and needs from you. Think about it like a magazine. Okay. Scott probably will laugh. This is several years ago. Whenever I was doing some research, I ordered, in fact, I signed up for like a million different magazines. One was like a fitness magazine, one was a women's magazine, one was business, one was entrepreneurship, because I wanted to check out the structure and the content and the consistency of all these different types of magazines. Because think about it, guys, if you picked up a Cosmo magazine, to give an example, it's usually the same type of content. It's just different topics each and every month, right? There might be an article on how to improve your relationship, right? And then next month it's an article on how to eat, healthy or whatever. But there's certain topics, right, that they alternate, but the structure of it is pretty similar. So that's what we're kind of honing in is, what do you want this framework? What do you want the focus to be for your ideal audience? So whenever it comes to planning out your content buckets and your topics, a way to kind of think through this is, what are some things that your client needs to know, like when it is, what it is that you teach. So, for example, providing value. And I'm just going to use Scott as an example because it's very easy, right? He teaches and trains on LinkedIn. So, of course, he's going to teach people things that are going to help them, use LinkedIn, more, obviously correctly. um, Topics in line with the products or services you offer. So, of course, he's talking about things that have to do with LinkedIn, and how it ties back and relates to your business. Think about when you're picking these topics, what are you the go-to expert in? Okay. Areas of expertise, right? If someone were to search in Google, LinkedIn expert, LinkedIn tips, anything like that, right? Think of the things that they are searching. Okay. So that's usually where I work it. Now, even before we go to the next slide, right, we have come so far in technology and we have so many more tools nowadays that help us get clarity on some of this stuff much quicker. And so, what I want to share with you guys is for anyone, in fact, if you guys can type a Y or a yes in the chat box, how many people are using AI in your business? And again, we strongly recommend, that you use AI specifically as a brainstorming tool, right? As a tool to help you remove maybe some of those roadblocks or helping you get more clear on the things that you want to talk about. And so, just for an example, I could go into ChatGPT, and if you're stuck with what kinds of topics that you really want to talk about, you can go in there and you can type in a chat and you can say, you know what, please give me, or actually tell it a little bit about your business, right? So give it a little bit of backstory. So here's my business. Here's a little bit about it. Here's who I work with. Can you please give me 3 to 5 content topic, categories that I can talk about consistently, to create content around in my business that my ideal audience, would find value in. You can do that prompt in many different ways to get the output that you're looking for, but this can help give you some ideas. Okay. And again, I love using ChatGPT as a way to really help brainstorm things that maybe I didn't even think of. We can sit here, we could say, sure, we're going to talk about LinkedIn, we're going to talk about social media, we're going to talk about content. Awesome. That's great too. But definitely utilize the tools that we have to even help you peel back those layers even quicker.
So how many of you, just drop a Y or a yes, how many of you feel more times than not, you feel like you're kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall, you're somewhat inconsistent, you wish you were getting better results than you are right now. You kind of feel like everything is different each day. You're not really staying streamlined. You really need to be, being held accountable. Okay, good. So again, that's one of those things where if consistency leads to results, right? Yeah, spaghetti and sauce. That's right. So one of the, go ahead, Nance.
Yeah. So one of the other things I do like to share is, don't forget when you pick out your 3 to 5 topics to add your business bucket. Okay. Whenever I say business bucket, it's just making sure that you have a little placeholder to talk about your business. Okay. So let's say, yes, maybe 3 to 5 of your content topics, right? Scott's could be LinkedIn. He could talk about content. He could talk about mindset. He could talk about entrepreneurship. But he also wants to make sure, and everyone, I added this in here because sometimes we struggle to actually share about our business, right? It's a necessary thing that we must do. So you can actually create a business bucket where you can obviously plan out different ways that you're going to share your actual business and the different programs and services that you offer. Okay. So underneath that business bucket, some of the different things, of course, that you can share, it's going to be stuff about your business, your story, behind the scenes, services you offer, testimonials, so much more. Okay. So I do recommend no matter what 3 to 5 topics you come up with, make sure to add one that specifically is in there so that you can plan content around actually sharing and talking about your business. All right. So Scott's going to go through a couple examples.
So if you were a marketing strategist, some examples of some content buckets for you could be being an entrepreneur, marketing tips, paid strategy, your business. If you're in a service professional as a financial advisor, financial topics, how to save money, the planning process, and obviously more about your business. If you're in real estate, maybe local business spotlights, fun things to do in the area, local market stats, tips for home buying and your business, obviously. If you're in health and wellness, nutrition tips, exercise tips, motivation, mindset, your business. The idea is to really spread out your content buckets, 3 to 5, as Nancy and I say. But when you choose your content buckets, it will give you a starting point to then brainstorm different pieces of content. That is the whole key.
Yeah, and there's a couple tools, and guys, I love my tools, right? Anything that can help streamline and make things a little bit easier. There is a site called answerthepublic.com that you can go to. It actually allows you, and I believe you can do 3 searches for free, and then they
Per
do
day.
charge. So I do recommend just make sure you use the free version, but don't go wild and type in a bunch of different topics. But for example, if you're a mindset coach, you can go to answerthepublic.com and type in mindset. And what it does is it actually brings up the most asked questions and the most searched for questions across the internet. And you can use those as topics, right? So for example, if someone says, what are some ways that I can improve my mindset, right? That'll pop up, and that might be a really good article or newsletter that you could create on LinkedIn. It's a great poll question. What are some different ways, so on and so forth. So it's a really neat way that you can use that. The other thing, like I said, use ChatGPT. Okay. So tell it a little bit about your business and then ask it for some recommendations and suggestions on how you can obviously share content that's relevant to your business, what you do, and, provide value to your audience.
If everybody is clear on this so far, just drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Just want to make sure you guys are with us so far. Awesome.
Yep. So, my recommendation, and, this is always the biggest hurdle, right, is making sure that we set aside the time to do this. Okay. The workbook has additional exercises. In fact, I have a whole breakout in there that you can kind of plan out some different topics and, different pieces of content. But my big recommendation, guys, is to take the time to actually do this. It's going to save you so much time and frustration later, actually planning out your content and being specific and getting some structure around it, because it's going to give you that grace. And again, I want everybody to enjoy more time, right, doing other things in their business. I don't want you guys spending all your time in social media, right? We don't want to do that. So what we're going to teach you now, okay, once you get your content topics, right, your content buckets, which, little hint, that's going to be your homework for tonight. Once you choose those, you then want to pretty much plug your content into the next steps, right? The process that you're going to start to really break down and create different pieces of content. Okay. So
You're
it
like,
all
oh,
starts.
is anybody over there?
No, I have my notes. So it all starts, right, number 1, with creating a pillar piece of content. And before we get to the next slide, okay, and before we kind of dig into what pillar content is, the way that this works as a workflow, okay, and again, if you guys are taking notes, you can write this down. Step 1 is to get clear on your content topics, your content buckets, okay, 3 to 5. Now, step 2, which I'm going to kind of map all this out when we wrap up at the end, guys, you'll kind of see this step by step. But step 2 is actually taking each of those content buckets, these content topics, and coming up with topics underneath of them, right? Individual pieces of content that relates to that topic. So for example, if I am going to talk about personal branding, topics underneath of that I could create pillar pieces of content, like this long form content. I could do an article on LinkedIn all about what personal branding is. I could do 3 tips on how to build your personal brand. I could share, maybe the top questions people ask when it comes to personal branding. Okay. So I can literally take that one topic, that one focus, that one business bucket, or, the content bucket, and I can come up with tons of different topics as it relates to that. Okay. And again, it's great because it all ties back to my business, right? These topics should be related in my business some way. Okay. So when we talk about pillar content, Content pillar is a substantive and informative piece of content on a specific topic or theme that can be broken down into smaller pieces, right? So whenever I say pillar content, the most often that people create for their business whenever they have a content strategy are going to be blog posts, videos, and podcasts. Now, keep in mind, and what I'm going to share with you today is how you can actually create that one piece of pillar content and then how we can break it out throughout the week so that we're not working harder, we're working smarter, right? We're actually taking the time to create that pillar content and then we're kind of moving down. All right. So all right. So the first one that we're going to kind of dig into is blog. And just to let you guys know, as I go through each of these, we're going to take a little minute where we can share a little bit, with obviously Teresa is going to be coming on today. Really want her to highlight again how she has used social media, how she's used content, all that wonderful thing, building her personal brand, what that has looked like. So we're going to take a quick little in between segment there, and then we're going to wrap up the rest of the training right after that. So anyway, so with the blog, a blog is a form of online publishing. Okay, so if anyone has a blog or has written a blog, type a Y or a yes in the chat box.
Yeah, even a newsletter blog.
Yep. So a blog, and as I'm referring to it, usually if you see on someone's website, sometimes there's a special link just for the blog. Blogs are great because, again, from an SEO, which is search engine optimization standpoint, when someone's searching for a particular topic or a subject, blogs are a great way to lead people and lead traffic back to your website. Now, the cool thing too, and Scott shares this all the time, LinkedIn articles are SEO optimized, meaning even your LinkedIn articles, if you write them, which could be the same information, guys, as your blog, just literally repurposed as an article or a newsletter, can come up in the Google search.
Yep.
So you're hitting it at multiple angles where, again, you're taking the time to write this longer form content, but it's really doing some awesome things on the back end when people are searching for you. So I love to write blogs. I love to repurpose them, like I said, into articles and newsletters. They do really great things for content creation because most of the time, right, when we're writing a longer form piece of content and the topics, we're sharing something educational, right? It's filled with tips, with value, with stuff that my audience and our audience, right, cares about. So a couple tips, and again, this is also in your workbook, but tips to prepare your blog. You first want to think of a title, think about the purpose for the reader, right? We always want to be intentional with what we're creating. What is the purpose for you? What questions will this blog answer? You can also think of a quote, a short story, or an anecdote to introduce the blog, and think about the call to action at the end of the blog. Now, when I say call to action, you'll hear me talk about this a lot, especially when it comes to pillar content. Guys, if someone's taking the time to read your whole blog, read your whole article, watch your whole video, listen to your whole podcast, you always, right? This is the best practice, rule of thumb, you always provide a call to action. And a call to action is the next steps that you want someone to take after listening, reading, whatever, consuming that content. Okay. So that easily could be, if you'd like to learn more, you can visit my website. If you guys want the free checklist, go here, right? So it's, again, the next step that you want to take people on. Now, creating content from a blog can get kind of fun, and you guys can actually create a template. In fact, I use Google Docs often with this. You can use a notes document, you can use a Word document, but you can easily actually map out a template and have sections like the intro, the middle, the end, and have a little spot for call to actions. What you could also do is use AI, such as ChatGPT. You can share your structure. You can say, you know what, I want you to help me outline a blog about this topic, and I want you to outline it in this format. And you could say an intro, a couple paragraphs in the middle, and an end with a call to action. And then hit enter, right? And let it help you outline your blog so that you can come in as the expert and you can write the content, you can share your stories, but you have a starting point.
So we're going to pause right here just for a quick second, just so we can bring Teresa out. So Teresa, if you want to, there we go. I just asked you to unmute. We're going to pin you. Well, Teresa, thank you again for taking the time to be with everyone here today. Obviously there's a ton that we want you to share because, building your personal brand, leveraging LinkedIn, growing your income in your business has been, I would say, paramount with the things that you wanted to achieve. So, Nance, if you want to just kind of take it from there, and Teresa, you can share some of those things with everyone that's on here today.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean,
Awesome.
first of all, thank you so much for being on our workshop today. And, just really want to shout Teresa out. She is absolutely amazing and has done wonderful things in her business. But one thing that we really wanted to have you kind of share with the audience, today especially is, how important is it, whenever it comes to building your business, your brand, everything, to really show up in the right way on LinkedIn, on social media? Like, what has that done for your business?
Oh my gosh, what can I say? But I think, so that this group knows a little bit of my history, I'm going to go back a little bit because,
Yeah.
I'd had a successful business as a nurse opening a hospice agency years ago, right? And how it was successful was my boots on the ground, face-to-face handshake method of marketing. Okay. In transitioning those marketing skills, and they were significant because we grew that hospice to $3 million in annual revenue from a $6,000 investment. Okay. So it wasn't like I didn't know how to sell, how to market, that kind of thing. But what I didn't know how to do was transition those skills to the digital space. Okay. To where I could meaningfully connect with the audience that I wanted to reach online. And I mean, I have to say, I failed miserably for years. I launched and failed and launched and failed, and I studied and I spent thousands of dollars. So if you've been there, know that I've been there too. And it wasn't all that long ago. But the difference for me has been the unique content strategy that Nancy has been able to impart to me, and also Scott's specific LinkedIn strategies that have really helped me to show up the same way that I enjoyed showing up all those years ago, as a value added partner. I never want to be somebody who shows up and just says, "Hey, I need this sale. I need you to buy from me." That is not what I'm all about. And these guys, the Aarons just wrote a book, The Feel Good Business Model. This is it. And, when you can feel good at the end of the day about the work you've done, the people you've served, the way you've been able to meet their needs and take the focus off yourself and have the income flow in, wow, that is like the perfect way to do business. And it's what I love the most, because I never feel sleazy. I never feel spammy. I am here to serve. And building my personal brand based on service, based on authenticity and integrity has, it's allowed a couple things. Number one, I can show up as me. And that I think is really important. So, I'm here in a hoodie and just relaxed today. Last week I was in the RV. Yeah, I was in the RV camping, and I was taking meetings, from the RV. So the things that you can do are truly incredible. Today I'm at my son's house taking care of my granddaughter, outside of my business. And so the flexibility that has been able to come to me because of the systems and strategies that Scott and Nancy shared with me about how to build my brand and show up and lead my people to me, call my people to me through valuable content, that's made all the difference.
Awesome. Yeah. So can you share a little bit, with our obviously workshop participants as well, from where you started? Because again, you had an amazing business. You just needed, right, a little bit of that structure and some of the, things in place. If you had to say where you were and then where you are Z, now, what are some of the key things that you really implemented that made the biggest difference for your business?
And really quick, Teresa, like you and I both know, we've talked about this before, that people pay for results. That's why people work with you. That's why people work with us. And, you and I had a very candid conversation, and you're like, I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to scale. I want to throw some gasoline on the fire. So
Yeah.
to Nancy's point, paint that picture of where you were when we had that conversation
Oh,
compared to where
yeah.
you are now.
I remember it well. And we actually had it twice because I wasn't ready
Right.
to say yes the first time.
Right.
And Scott reached out to me again later about expert authority to see if, maybe the time was right. And I got to be honest, I was terrified because if you just, I guess this business for me, this version of me started in 2020, right at the middle of COVID. And I have to tell you, at that time, I was working through a flare-up of major depression that I'd never had before. But not an optimal time to start a business, but when you can't work as a nurse, what are you going to do, right? You're going to try and do something. So that very first year in business, just a few months, I mean, $13,000 came in, guys. 13,000. The next year, when Scott and I were talking about me joining Expert Authority, that was the end of 2022, and $40,000 came in that year for my business. Last year, after working one full year with Scott and Nancy and really putting a lot of things in place, like content strategy, having a marketing strategy for the entire year, all of these things, and getting really very intentional about my business and what I was doing, when I was doing it, those kind of things, then last year's income topped about $230,000.
Mm.
And this year we're 35% above that,
Oh,
as we move into this year. And it's from, is it magic? No. But if you commit to doing the work, and I was already doing the work, guys, it was just fruitless work that I was doing. It was work that was not gaining me any traction. And it wasn't sustainable. So now I have a sustainable, viable business. I'm growing a team. I have a team that supports me now, and we're growing every day. And so one of the most wonderful things is, of course, I can work from anywhere, right? Not that I take vacation 365 days a year, but that I can work from anywhere. So I have flexibility and time freedom, but also that I'm able to help other aspiring nurse entrepreneurs do what I'm doing while I do the meaningful work of changing and transitioning or transforming nursing culture, which this was a passion project of mine, which is now going to be a mainstay of my business. But I would never have gotten here had I not first been able to take the primary service of business that I have to have that foundational income coming in so that I can now step up and work my passion project.
Mm.
So,
I love that.
I mean, that's just incredibly valuable to me.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah.
final thing before we let you go. Well, first, thank you so
Sure.
much. We always love hearing your story.
Mhm.
For the person that's attending this workshop, maybe for the first time, or this is many times they've been a part of our workshops, but we're in the place that you were, the mindset, like, when is the right time? Like, I know I need to do something. What's your
Mhm.
message to that person that may be on the fence, knows that they need to do something, but they're afraid to take that leap?
I love this question, and I actually just did a quick live in my Facebook group about it. But to get something you've never had, you're going to need to do something you've never done.
Oh,
Okay.
geez.
That's
Mic
going to
drop.
require, yeah, that is going to require that you change what you've been doing. Okay. Because if you've been out there and you've been doing it on your own and it's not getting the result you want, it's time to change that, guys. That's the definition of insanity. If we just keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, it's not going to work. So you got to be willing to do something differently. You also need to be willing to think differently. And that means learning. That means learning new concepts, innovating ideas, and trying things out, right? And the next thing is you've got to believe differently. You have to flood your mind with the positivity that is needed. And this is not woo-woo, frou-frou kind of stuff. This is the real deal. Because until I started believing that it was possible for me, nothing changed. Everything you throw out into the universe comes back to you. So if all you're thinking is it never works, here I go, I'm launching again, it's never going to work. That was me. It's never going to work. Well, it never did. Okay. So, but you need support to make changes like this. And that's what Expert Authority has given me. It's been the anchor. The Monday mindset calls that are just like a bonus are crucial. And I attend whenever I can, just to be sure that I'm feeding my mind in the right way. And then the trainings and recorded trainings and all of the gear. Yeah, invest in yourself. What does Robin Sharma say? He says, if you want to double your income, you need to triple your investment
Oof.
in developing yourself.
Yeah.
Massive, guys.
Yeah.
So, again, you got to do something you've never done to get something you've never had.
I love that. Well, Teresa, we
Yeah.
love and appreciate you so much,
Oh.
and you're always so grateful, and just you're always willing to just give your time. And I just want everyone to just pop into the chat and thank Teresa so much for sharing her inspiring story. Because it's the truth. A lot can change in a short amount of time, and Teresa is a prime example of that. So Teresa, we tell you this all the time, that we love and appreciate you, and we're so grateful for you. But thank you for, taking the time to pop in here today and share your wisdom and your knowledge with everybody in the workshop. And I know that it's definitely moved the needle for so many people, and we really appreciate you. So thank you, Teresa. We are going to dive right back in. Nancy has some more things to cover. So again, if you guys can just drop a Y or a yes in the chat, if you can see our screen clearly. We are going to move on to the second piece of pillar content, which is video content. Nance?
All right. So video, which actually, right, I've got a little screenshot of Scott up here, is one of Scott's specialties. Okay. So, we can create pillar content in different orders, or, maybe we can just create one piece of pillar content, but I love to create multiple pieces often, but it's usually on the same topics. Well, video, okay. The good thing about video is it can be recorded at any time, right? You can actually pre-record it and then actually schedule it on your social media. But the one thing that I really like video, and I want to kind of send this out there to you guys as a reminder, with the introduction of AI, with the introduction of some of these different, softwares and ways to kind of create content, it makes it so that a lot of this content is generic in some ways. But the thing that I want to remind you is no one is you, right? So yes, AI, they've gotten pretty fancy with some things, but showing up on video and being you, right? Scott shows up in his outfit,
Yes.
his hoodie,
Orange hoodie in
whatever.
there.
All the time, right? Show up as you, be authentic, putting yourself out there, but it's another way for your audience to build that know, like, and trust with you. But you can create a video each week in about, and these videos could be 2 to 5 minutes long, which is going to teach and train people on whatever topic, that you're talking about. So as I shared with you, maybe your content bucket is personal branding. Well, underneath that, maybe I do a quick video, 2 to 5 minutes on, 3 tips how to build your personal brand. Okay. But we want to think about, obviously using video in our content because it's very impactful, especially building that
So when we talk about the anatomy of a video, there's literally, this is the 5-step process that I do, whether I'm doing a pre-recorded or a live video. And it's something that you easily can do. Introduce yourself and say hello. Hey everyone, Scott here. Today we're going to talk about 3 ways of how to properly message people on LinkedIn because you don't want to be spammy. And then I would then go into talking about my topic. So number 1, here's how not to be spammy on LinkedIn. I give a little bit of a tidbit. Number 2, here's how not to be spammy. And here's number 3. Now let's wrap it all up. Again, just wrapping it all up. The 3 ways of how not to be spammy when messaging people on LinkedIn is number 1, 2, and 3. And I would finish with my call to action. Pop into the comments below. Let me know which tip helped you the most. I would love to hear your feedback, and I'll talk to you next time. And that's the anatomy. And again, I know I made that seem very easy, but again, you can hear I have clarity around my topic. I can talk about my topic without having anything in front of me, and that's what we want for all of you. And just introducing yourself, what you're going to talk about, talking about that topic, recapping it, and that call to action is a simplistic way to produce good video content.
Yeah. And just a reminder, these are in your workbook as well, so if you guys want to kind of play around with it a little bit.
Oh, there you go. Now, podcast. So drop a Y or a yes if you have a podcast, or an N or a no if you don't. Y or yes if you do, N or no if you don't. Okay. Second question. Have you ever been a guest on a podcast? Type a number 1 in the chat if you've been a guest on a podcast. Okay. So obviously for those that do not know what a podcast is, it's a digital audio file available on the internet for downloading or listening to, like a radio show. Doing a short episode once or twice a week, which is what Nancy and I do, will provide pillar content and messaging. So a lot of our structure is based on our content with our podcast. So Nancy and I, when we were preparing for this workshop, we built out an entire content schedule for our blog, for our podcast, and for our LinkedIn content that was all tied into the theme of what we were talking about, which was building your personal brand. And a podcast, what I can tell you is that it expands your reach so much. And if you've thought about having a podcast and you know that it would be beneficial for your niche and your business, it's part of a simplistic thing and a way that we teach people of how to do that. So when you're talking about the anatomy of a podcast, title, topic, intro, topics, outro, and then questions for a guest or a call to action. So, it could be much like I went over in the video. It could be the same thing. In today's podcast episode, we're going to talk about, 3 ways of how not to be spammy on LinkedIn. I go and do my intro, the topics, the outro. And then again, if you'd like to learn more about how to work with me, visit my website here or meet me on social. You can go here. So it's the anatomy of a video and a podcast is much the same. One is just a video and audio, and the other is just an audio. So if everybody is clear on that, just drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Now, the other question that we have for you is, how do you prefer to create content?
Well, out of those 3 ways that you can create, think about and actually experiment, right? What feels most comfortable to you? Like I shared, Scott is really good at video. He kind of loves to go off the cuff and kind of share his knowledge. So he actually creates video first. I like to pre-write everything out. So I actually write my articles or my blog first, and then I do my video. So think about how you prefer to create content and go with what you feel most comfortable with, because we are all very different, right?
So with that question, type in the chat, blog, video, podcast. What are you most comfortable doing to lead with your pillar content? Now, we want to stop for a second. Nancy put a big stop sign here, so I want her to talk about this.
We can keep going.
Okay. So here is your workflow. So Nancy's going to kind of break down really quickly the anatomy of the repurposing workflow from all of this.
Yep. So step 1, right, is getting clear, okay, on the content that you want to create. So again, if you're writing out your blog or if you're doing your video, okay, get clear on what that is and create the content. Step 2 is going to be to create multiple pieces of content from that pillar piece. Okay. Whenever I say that, it means, you could create a smaller post about part of the topic. Like, for example, if it's, 3 tools that are great for repurposing. Okay. I could create one post that is about one of the tools and just say, here's how I use this tool and I love it. And it could be like a little, quick little post about that. Maybe I shared earlier, you do 3 tips on how to build your personal brand, right? That could be the article. And again, I could create a post that just shares, maybe a little behind the scenes on how I've been building my personal brand or, breaking that topic up. You could even pull a quote out of something that you wrote, or it could be a quote that is in line, right, with kind of the theme that you're focusing on. In fact, I shared, the example down at the bottom, this particular week that I show you, right, I did a video on tools for productivity. I did a post on how I use, one of the tools for productivity. And then I shared a quote about organization and productivity. Okay. So again, you can break that one pillar piece into smaller pieces. And then the third step is scheduling and posting that content. Okay. All right. So just to show you an example of what this looks like with LinkedIn. Okay. So Scott often teaches, right? It's best practice to post at least maybe 3 times a week. So if you were to create a video, all right, and using this example could be called 3 tips to build your personal brand online. On Wednesday, you can create a poll. And for all of you guys who are really focusing on LinkedIn, this is a good little workflow to follow, is a video, poll, and then a long form post. Okay. So the poll question could relate. So the question could be, what do you struggle with most when it comes to building your personal brand? Friday, your long form post, right, could be again on the same topic, right? That could be the newsletter that you send out, which again could be 3 tips on how to build your personal brand online. People consume content differently. A lot of people get hung up on, oh, well,
I post the
isn't
same
that
thing.
repetitive?
Yeah.
Or, you know what? You could literally post the same exact topic
Every day.
the entire 6 months, and you're still going to have people not see it.
Yep.
But again, it's important that you do post and you stay consistent and that you have some focus. Now, if you're going to use this method for Facebook or Instagram, a way that you could do this and just some ideas on how you could actually break out your content. Monday, maybe you could post something inspirational, right? Maybe a motivational Monday. Tuesday, educational. Maybe that's the day that you post your video. Wednesday could be your business bucket, right? Your work at Wednesday. That could be, hey, check out my whatever you've got going on. Thursday, engaging question, right? Again, could be a poll, could be asking your audience, anything to spark engagement. In fact, one thing Andy Crestodina, who's one of my favorite content creators, recently shared on a podcast interview we did on Social Media Examiner. He said really good content right now is content that really sparks engagement, right? You know, so if you have an opinion or you are, you know, having a certain opinion on something in your industry, you know, maybe something has risen up in the news and you have some thoughts on it, it's a great thing to kind of share and start some conversation. You know, of course, not for argument, but like to start some friendly, you know, conversation. And then Friday, right, you can post something entertaining, something feel good, maybe personal, right? Again, other ways to help people connect to you. You could share your favorite podcasts, your favorite things, you know, books, you know, what you're excited for, you know, for the upcoming week. You could share and celebrate about a team member, just anything of that nature. So these are some suggestions. And again, these are in your workbook, guys. But these are ways that you can take, again, that main pillar piece of content and kind of theme it out, right? That's your theme for the week and all the different things, right? The different focuses that you have on each day. You can break your content out in that way.
So if everybody is clear on that so far, just drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Just want to make sure everybody is with us. So we're going to give you the homework assignment in a second, but we wanted to talk about something really, really quickly. Just drop a me, just type the word me in the chat. If you are someone that is looking to make the rest of this year completely epic, not only from an income standpoint, but from an impact standpoint, a business standpoint, working smarter and not harder. If you're that person that's saying me, you know, we are very, very excited and very happy to announce that we have, and you've heard it all week, starting today through Monday, at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have officially opened the doors to our Expert Authority Group Coaching Mastermind. We've already had some people that sign up. Teresa Berg, who's on here, Rich, who's on here, has signed up. Jesse, who is on here, has signed up. Cynthia, who's on here, has already signed up. Pam signed up. So we have 5 spots already gone, and we keep it very small and intimate, 10 to 15 people. And it's unlike anything else out there. And I'm going to kind of turn it to Nancy really quickly, where she can tell you a little bit why our mastermind, our program is so different than anything else.
Yeah, so it's funny, right? Every time we open the doors, which we only do this, guys, you know, a couple times a year, you know, it's something that we get so excited about because we know it's one of those programs where
Just keep going.
okay, yeah, it's one of those programs where we are just so confident and so confident in the way that we share it with people because we know how much it helps. We've helped so many people and it's been multiple years. Sorry, Scott is jumping around and it's throwing me off track here. So anyway, we love talking about the program because we absolutely love helping people. And so, like Scott said, right, we've created this program together, which is called Expert Authority, and it is a mastermind/coaching program hybrid. And like I said, it's unlike anything else, and it's really the program that we always wish we had, when we were actually building the business and helping people. And so the way that it's broken down, because we have had some questions obviously throughout the week, you've already met actually a couple members of our program throughout the week. We've had a couple people jumping on. We really focus on building out your personal brand and so much more. So the way that it works, and it's kind of like a three-pronged approach, is it starts with a quarterly strategy, right? Every single person who's in the program, once we kick it off, we meet and we actually get clear on the goals that you want to achieve.
One-on-one.
Right? What is it that you want to do? How much money do you want to make? Let's actually set these intentions. Let's set the goal. And then what we do is we help with a little bit of consulting and coaching, right? A little mix. We create an action plan. Okay. I'm the queen of homework and action plans, and we love giving you specific plans of action on what you need to do to achieve your goals. Okay. So that's the first part of it. Now, the other thing, right, that we do is a Thursday call. So each and every single week, we have a group coaching call that we do. Now, it's really, really cool because that Thursday coaching call alternates, right? We do training and we also do a quick Q&A. Okay. All right. So it's all very, very simple, right? We put together a couple components. Teresa mentioned, right? One thing that we added, in fact, with feedback from our previous members was the Monday Mindset bonus call. And this is something that we do every single week, right? We jump on all together and we set intentions for the week, right? We share some things that we're working on and we hit the ground running. We have the Thursday call at the same time every single week, so you guys can just plug into that. And we did recently start a book club. Okay. So every single thing that we do in this program, it's to make sure that we're staying super honed in and focused on our goals. We're getting things done. So you not only have the accountability, right? You've got the focus, you've got the organization, you have, obviously other people who are in the same boat as you looking to build and grow your business. So there's so much to it, but it's really simple, right? It's a simple routine weekly call and the quarterly strategies, which are super impactful. But it's the only personal branding program that teaches you, right, the next steps for exponential growth with the accountability and the support to get it done. Okay. So this program, again, cannot say it enough. I mean, it is absolutely amazing. Anything you'd like to share, Scott?
Yeah, I would say this is that, for anyone that really does, if you're kind of tired of being where you are in business, from an income standpoint, from a lack of clarity standpoint, all of those things, this is that next level for you. This is the next step in. And again, Teresa was one of those people that came to us, and she shared with you, she only made $40,000 the year prior, and she was looking to make sure that
you can share screen.
Okay. She wanted to up level, and you can see she went from 40,000 a year to 230,000 in a year, and she's already up 35% for this coming year. So again, hold on for a second. You want to really make sure that you don't stand still any longer. I think that's the really big message that we have for everyone, is making sure that we really want everyone not only to take so much away from this, but really making sure that everyone is really getting the maximizing things out of your business. It's really one of those things where business comes and goes. We need to make sure that we are not flashes in the pan. Right. So I just dropped into the chat That is where you can learn more about the program. You can book a free consult call with us to apply for the program. We only have a few spots left. It is one of those things where if you're ready to up-level your business, you're ready to up-level your income, all of those things, you want one-on-one support from us. That is what we're here for. And it's limited space. Again, the doors are open from today until Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The same time the replays come down is the same time that the doors to this program close. We only open it a couple times a year. We work with coaches, consultants, service professionals. And again, to Teresa's point, to get something different, you have to do something different. And if what you're doing is kind of keeping you on that hamster wheel of the things that you really want to achieve in your business, but they're not translating into in the dollars and the impact that you want to have, that's exactly what we can teach you how to do. Because again, it's one of a kind. You get one-on-one time with us. You get time in a group with other up-leveled entrepreneurs because you are the sum of the people that you're surrounded by. So in this group, you're surrounded by people that want to grow and scale and do bigger and better things. And that's what we can do with each and every one of you. And that's why we keep it so small, because we work with you one-on-one. You can earn bonus time with us for achieving all of your goals. So again, if you click that link, or if you just want to get right on our calendar, because again, we opened up our calendar for just a short amount of time. You can grab a slot that is available. Talk to us. We can show you more of the trainings that we have, an example of the goal sheet, and all the things that we can do together to really make the remainder of the next 7 months, but into next year, the next 12 months together, make them the most epic possible. Nance?
Yep.
Anything to add?
No, I'm like,
Okay, so your assignment for tomorrow is to go into the Facebook group. It's going to say Nancy's Day 4 homework thread. You are going to share your 3 content buckets that you are going to talk about. So for me, it could be, LinkedIn, motivation, and personal branding. So all you have to do is go in there and say, my 3 topics are 1, 2, and 3. If everybody is clear on that, just drop a Y or a yes in the chat. And again, the other thing that I do want to remind all of you is that please, if you really want things to change over the next year, we are here for you. So if you click that link, you can find out all about our Expert Authority program. You can book a call with us. And if you're really sick and tired of being sick and tired and having your income staying in the same place or going backwards or not going anywhere, or just like Teresa, she was kind of like, she was making $4,000 to $5,000 a month, and that translated into almost $30,000 a month a year later. And that's what we want for all of you. So again, the 2 homework winners from yesterday, Teresa Guzman and Lisa Koletsky, you are the 2 winners. All prizes will be given out, obviously, after we wrap up this weekend. So remember, we have day 5 tomorrow. We have the bonus call on Saturday from 11 to 12. We'll be sending out a pre-submission question link for you guys. It's just a Google Sheet. Pre-submit your questions, and then we can take it from there. So remember, the doors are officially open to Expert Authority. We have a few spots left. If you're ready to up-level your business, generate more leads, generate more sales, scale your business, grow, and do it in a simplistic, easy, and feel-good way, we are ready to serve you. So everyone, we hope you enjoyed day number 4. We will see you tomorrow, same time for day number 5. Love